Hey guys, I'm sorry to disappoint you. If people were looking forward to the comics, I'm filming this a day ahead of Comic Book Wednesdays. I'm going through my graphic novel collection. Reason why I feel that you guys should see what I think of like some of the older books or some of the newer books that have come out, and what my opinion is basically of them. Sure, there's going to be a little bit more of the newer books, but the older books I do recommend some of you picking up. But I also get an opinion of what I think of some of the artists or writers that are in comics right now. With that being said, let's get started. You may have seen some of my reviews for some of these comics, so I won't go into too much of the detail, as I talked about a couple of them on the podcast. So let's just get started, and we're gonna go in reverse alphabetical order because I kind of screwed myself over picking up my books. So, sorry with the hair flip. I'm not emo, I promise. But, here we go. First up, we have X-Men Schism. Story about this: Cyclops has taken over the X-Men. Well, Professor Xavier's gone. Wolverine was second in command. Wolverine's not really following Cyclops' rule, and yeah, they get into a fight, as you can see on the cover. Thought the book was okay. X-Men fan-related book, though. If you're really a big fan of the X-Men, this is your book. So, I'm going to have so much difficulty figuring out what I want to do with these books after I'm done. Next is Wonder Woman: The Circle. I talked about this book. This was actually, I think this was my second comic review I ever did on YouTube. And I love Gail Simone. She is excellent female writer. This is probably the best Wonder Woman book I've ever picked up because it's the only Wonder Woman book I've ever picked up. So I recommend picking it up if you are a big girl comic fan, or if you really love Wonder Woman. Definitely pick it up. Check out my review if you also want to see what I gave it as a rating. Wolverine, Captain America, these two team up. They go out to, they go out and team up together. They haven't teamed up in a while. They teamed up in World War II. And yeah, they're going to fight bad guys and stuff. Very cool. Very weird of a comic at the same time, because the artwork, I'm looking at this, the artwork is not that good. And the villain is crazy. Alright, Watchmen. Recommended to be the greatest graphic novel of all time, and I won't say that's true. I'm not going to really say what is the greatest graphic novel of all time. I love Watchmen, though. I love this book. It is an excellent book. Alan Moore, you are probably one of the best writers in fictional history ever, even though you're crazy as hell. Your Swamp Thing was great. V for Vendetta is an excellent book. And, of course, The Killing Joke is one of the best Joker stories of all time. You are a lunatic, and I love you. So, if you love comics, you need to pick up this book. I recommend it in a podcast review, but like I said, it is one of the greatest stories of all time, and it's a definite pickup if you ever are interested into comics, ever. That's a Spider-Man prelude. Didn't like it whatsoever. It was really ridiculous. Brian Michael Bendis has done better books. It's this book, Titans Family Reunion. Probably my most hated book of all time. And I still hate it. You're wondering why I still have it. You thought I threw it out. I did. And then I picked it back up because that'd be a waste of, $15. So, I'll probably sell it one day, whenever I get the chance, but it's still wet. I'll probably get it wet again. Teen Titans Year 1. This recently came out a couple of years ago. Very interesting book. It's written by a girl, first of all. So, you don't really... It's more of the girly side. I think the only issue is you don't have the regular team that was on it. Actually, no, it's kind of a lie, but The first three to join it were Robin, Arsenal, and Aqualad. But in this book they call him Speedy, which, you know, that was his original name, but he switched to Arsenal, which would have been cool. But I don't know what's up with the art. The art is very interesting to look at. They switch artists a couple times, but I know it's weird. And of course, Batman doesn't want Robin to join the Teen Titans for some reason, which I don't know. Batman would recommend Robin working with the team. And at the end of the book leaves you on a cliffhanger, but yeah, they never made a sequel to this. Well, not that I know of. So, if there is a sequel, someone tell me, please. I'd like to read it. This was an okay book. Teen Titans team building. I reviewed this book. This is when Damian joined the Teen Titans for a period of time, and very interesting take on what Damian thinks of the Teen Titans. However, you know, things go back to normal with Tim Drake leading the Teen Titans. I just wish that, you know, Dick Grayson's kind of leading the Titans again. Who knows? But, you know, it was a good book. Mon-El. Superman Mon-El, part of the new Krypton series. Mon-El's an interesting character. I already gave this a review, so I like Mon-El as a character, but I'm not sure about, you know, like everyone else. So, it's okay. Superman Earth 1. I gave a long review, actually. It was over a half hour long on why this book is great. But that video got corrupted, and then I had to make a 2-minute video part with Silver Surfer and I don't remember the other book at this point in time. Oh, Spider Island, which is coming up actually. Those videos all got corrupted, and then I had them all make a 3-minute video of all of them, which completely sucks. But I'm not going to go too much long, because I'm going to try to make that video again. Superman Earth 1 is one of the greatest books I've ever read. I'm not even kidding. It is excellent. It's the best Superman book I've ever read. J. Michael Straczynski and Shane Davis should be proud of themselves. Superman Earth 2 I've not read yet, but I can't wait to pick it up. I'll tell you that. But this is just awesome. This is what DC needs to work on right now. New 52 was a really stupid idea for them. They needed to focus on books like this book. This book is excellent. You need to pick it up if you're a comic fan. No matter what, you go check out my little review of it. I'll be making a bigger review of it once I get the time. Probably after I get Earth 2. I'll do a compilation review of both of them. So please, go pick up that book. Superman, Codename Patriots. I gave this a review already. It's okay. Don't really care for it. It's one of the more blander stories. Superman, Batman, Public Enemies. One of the original Jeff Loeb stories that brought him to the top. It's excellent. Excellent story. If you love Superman and Batman, definitely pick it up. If you just don't like the artwork, which I wasn't a big fan of because it was kind of cartoony, that's probably the only problem. But Ed McGuinness, you know, they got the team of Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness again working on Nova right now over at Marvel, which that's already excellent. Superman, Batman, Night and Day. This is one of the sequels to, you know, this is one of the lead-ins. A couple of stories are interesting, but overall it's just The artwork switches from time to time. You know, it's good for what it is. If you're like a big fan of Superman, Batman. Superboy, Boy of Steel. I'm thinking this is probably my favorite Jeff Johns book of all time. I love this book. Please check out my review for this. I really don't want to spoil much of it, but this is an excellent book. You please. Like Superman Earth 1, this is a great book. But it's not as high as Superman Earth 1, but Jeff Johns' is probably best work. Definitely. I just want to point out, you kind of noticed already, I have a lot of DC books. I'm not the biggest Marvel fanboy, except that I'm picking up a lot more Marvel comics right now. I like DC stories. DC stories are excellent. Characters from Marvel are excellent, but I prefer story over characters. In a way, because in DC, with their stories, their characters get brought out. Marvel, their characters are brought out, but the stories are just all over the place, which is a big issue for Marvel always, but you know. But a book from DC I didn't really care for, Strange Adventures. Yeah, I don't know any of the characters from here. They're just a random group of people I just decided to read about, and yeah, it was pretty bleh. A book that's not even from DC or Marvel, but from Dark Horse, Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2, the graphic novel tie-in. This explains what Boba Fett was going on through, which was a main issue with the game because you never really saw Boba Fett. You saw him for, what, one scene and that's it? And then you saw him in the end. So, if you want to know what what Boba Fett was thinking, definitely check out this book. Even though towards the end they get away from Boba Fett a bit, definitely you need to pick this up if you're a big Boba Fett fan and want to know what happened to him during the game. This should have been in the game. Spider Island. Yes, the book I was talking about earlier. I think this is a great book. Dan Slott, this is probably his best story. Except for 700, which was excellent. The whole 700 lead up was a great book. I think this was great. It's crazy at some points. The Venom tie-ins are perfect. I love the Venom story in this. This is a great book. I recommend picking up if you're a huge Spider-Man fan. Just only if you're a huge Spider-Man fan, though. Spider-Man the Savage Land, you know, just he goes to the Savage Land, and it's what it is. Spider-Man's going to the Savage Land, and he fights weird animals like dinosaurs and lizards. That's clearly what Wolverine's going through right now. Spider-Man Fearsome Foes. These are just random stories in the Ultimate Universe, where, no, it's not the Ultimate Universe, but it's in, I think, somewhat in there. But you know, he's just fighting bad guys. This issue, yeah, these are just a Spider-Man run through. He just fights through bad guys, the Vulture, Doc Ock, and then he teams up with the Fantastic Four towards the end. It's okay. Spider-Man Blue, Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale backed together to do this book. And yeah, it's a good book. It shows what Spider-Man's grieving through with the loss of Gwen Stacy before, well, after, a couple of years after Gwen Stacy. And he's married to Mary Jane at this time. And it's interesting to feel how Spider-Man feels now, years after Gwen Stacy has died, and revisiting those feelings he had, explaining what he went through to try to get Gwen Stacy in the first place, which is excellent. So, I recommend this book. Yeah, I see we're running through almost all the Spider-Man books. Spider-Man Big Time. This is the other good Dan Slott book. This was when he got the new super suit, which was awesome. He teams up. We get the introduction of the new Hobgoblin, which, you know, kind of, you know, weird that it happened, but I liked it for what it was. You know, Spider-Man, he was getting his reboot that he needed, except he got rebooted anyway with Superior. Silver Surfer De-Evolution, the one I was talking about earlier, that I gave a quick review. Great character book. I don't really care about anything else in it. Shadowland. Excellent Daredevil book. My only Daredevil book in my collection, sadly. I want to get more Daredevil books. I know the Mark Waid books are excellent books going on right now. But this is a good book. I really enjoyed it. It's the Michael Bay of the Daredevil universe. Probably one of my favorite stories of all time, like Superman Earth 1. Secret Wars, and this is signed by Doug Walker, Linkara, Louis Lovane, and 8-Bit Mickey from ThatGuyWithTheGlasses.com. I love those guys. I wanted one of my favorite books of all time be signed by some of my favorite people of all time. And yeah, check out my review if you really want to see how I feel. Secret Avengers, run the mission, don't get seen, save the world. I gave a short review of that. It was eh. Red Hood, The Lost Days. Basically what happened to Jason Todd after he came back from the dead. Explains what he's feeling, how he's regretting through, and what is he going to do. And towards the end, he almost gets his revenge. You can almost see it. And it's crazy what happens through Jason Todd, what happened to him. And his anger towards Batman for not wanting to kill, and his hatred towards the Joker for basically murdering him. It's crazy. Nightwing, New 52, issues 1 through 7. Great book. One of the best series in the New 52 right now, I have to say. I haven't picked up many of the other issues, though. Like, right now I'm picking up Nightwing issues. I don't like the red suit, though, I'll tell you that. Nightwing, Freefall. I reviewed this book. Check out my review if you really want to check it out. Peter Tomasi is a great writer for Nightwing. However, I think Kyle Higgins is the best writer for Nightwing right now. New Avengers. I have no idea what this is about because if you look, I haven't even opened it. This is the book I plan on not opening and not reading because I think that it's one of those books that you don't want to know what happens because, you know, I already know what happens in the future, but what happens in here, you know, actually it's just a book I don't want to open because I don't want to open it. I honestly don't want to open it because I feel that I'll get more for my value with it. Plus, I really don't want to care for the story. Kick-Ass. The first Kick-Ass book by Mark Millar and John Romita Jr. I love the artwork. The story is great, but all the characters are dicks. That's the main issue with the book. The characters are all dicks. And I'm glad that they fixed... I don't know if... Actually, but I heard that they fixed it in Kick-Ass 2. They focused on the characters more, which is great. But, you know, Kick-Ass was great, is great still. And Kick-Ass, the third comic is coming out, which already spoiled what happened in Kick-Ass 2. And Kick-Ass 2, the movie's coming out. Definitely check out the trailer. We're coming to an end of part 1 soon. I think I'm doing a couple more. Probably got down to the Eyes. As soon as I'm done with these J books, then we're going to go to part 2. Justice League Sanctuary, the prequel to Final Crisis. Didn't care for it. Dwayne McGuffey's parts were excellent, but Alan Burnett, you're a really bad writer. Ed Benz did excellent, artistry for this book, but really didn't care for the rest of it. Justice League, the Ride of Eclipso. I hated Eclipso. He made no sense of the villain. I love Dick Grayson's perspective of how he is Batman and gets to work with some of the Justice League Teen Titans that are now part of the Justice League, which is kind of a big issue. There's too many Justice League members now. Justice League Rise and Fall. After reviewing this book, which you should go check out, I kind of don't deserve to give it the review I did. It's too high of a rating. And Arsenal talks to his dead daughter. What the fuck? And finally, my first comic review I've ever did for the website of YouTube, Joker. Brian Alazaro does a great job with the Joker character. It's a great standalone Joker story. The artistry is realistic. However, some of the characters in the book are just forgettable completely. I don't even remember the main protagonist in the story, who just is the sidekick to the Joker the whole time. But the Joker is crazy in this book. And the ending is one crazy ending. So that's the end of this part. Go back for part 2. But check it out, definitely. It's going to be bigger. Going through I's through A's. Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff in here. Because there's Batman. And, yeah. There are a lot of good Batman books, I'll tell you that for sure. And, well, you're going to have to wait and see. You're going to have to wait and see what I have. So, thank you for watching this part. Come back for part 2. Again, apologize for no Comic Book Wednesdays. So, see ya.